Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with American Vineyard Magazine, reporting to you from the Clarksburg AVA. I'm here with Tom Merwin. He's a grape grower, local grape grower, also president of the Clarksburg Wine Grape Growers and Vintners Association. I wish we were going to talk about something nice today, but we've experienced some severe issues. We got drought here that's unprecedented. Also, a crazy freeze that happened back in April, right? And so can you tell us about what we're seeing here and how that's really affected your own personal, grape growing operation as well as other local growers?
Yeah, so in April we experienced, as someone from UC Davis told me, a once-in-a-lifetime event. So we had a horrible frost where temperatures got below 27 degrees for a couple hours here in the Clarksburg AVA. Really hurt and damaged a lot of vineyards. From a personal perspective, our family farm, we've got vineyards that were completely decimated, where we're seeing 90 to 95% loss on the vineyard. Then we have stuff that also has been untouched by the frost. So it was really a situation where it depended on how your air movement was and what your elevation was. Just very, very challenging times. We're probably across the board, it's going to knock our production in half. From if you add all of our vineyards together, and we're very emblematic of what the AVA is seeing. So you've got growers that weren't really affected at all, but most growers are going to be affected by this. Many have whole fields that are completely wiped out. Some with 50% damage, and some with maybe something like 30% damage. So it just really depended on what your vineyard location was, what your cover crop situation was, what the soil temperature was the day before and that morning. Just a lot of many variables going into the damage in the vineyard, as well as what varieties. Some varieties in some areas got hit harder than others. So personally, we got really hit hard with Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, Pinot Gris, Sauvignon Blanc, and Chenin Blanc. So those are the varieties that really took a beating from this frost.
So when the freeze hit, it was just a little bit after bud break, right?
Right.
And that's what really caused the damage. If it had happened just a few weeks earlier, right?
Exactly. We would have been okay. A lot less damage. We're in our vineyards and most vineyards around here, you saw shoots were 3 to 6 inches in length, and like you saw earlier in the vineyard today, you could still see where that damage hit. Or maybe the first couple inches were no damage, but you get to the end of the shoots and they're completely cooked, as they say.
So you didn't lose any vines, but people that might have had first year, second year vines in the ground, some had some serious losses of actual grapevines too, right?
Yes, we've got a couple of growers that are members of our association. They let me know that they got hit pretty hard, not just from this year, but they lost vines. And the really challenging part is we don't know what the long-term effects are going to be. So we don't know if these vines are going to be damaged for next year and the year after. So it's really it's a once-in-a-lifetime event, and it's also a learning opportunity for a lot of growers because most of us have never seen an event like this.
Well, hopefully it sure is a once-in-a-lifetime event that it doesn't happen again. But what a tough year for this to happen with the drought. That's definitely going to impact the size of the crush this year, at least from the Clarksburg region, as well as some other areas like Lodi that were hit with the freeze as well.
Yeah, so Lodi got hit. The foothills, the Sierra foothills got hit as well. So it's Clarksburg wasn't the only one out there, only wine region out there that got hit. Many other wine regions got hit, and many other commodities too. So if you look at the almonds and walnuts up north of us, they got hit as well. So it's I guess there is some comfort in knowing that you're not alone. But the market from just a grape growing perspective, the market has been pretty healthy the last couple of years, and most growers weren't going to have issues selling their fruit for a really good price, and that's what I think hurts the most is knowing that you're going to have a home at a good price for all of your fruit, and now not a lot of fruit out there to sell. So.
And in looking out over the vineyards, we see that there's some secondary growth coming, right, and some new clusters forming. But that's just not going to make it in time, is it?
That's right. I think one of some of the issues are you're seeing growth come back, and not many vineyards. You're seeing some clusters coming along, but it just a big factor is the timing. They're going to be so late, and many of these programs are going to be closed, so you're not going to be able to really deliver Sauvignon Blanc in October. That's just not going to work out for most wineries. Those programs are going to be closed. So just something that we all have to work through, working with our crop insurance adjuster, and hopefully those who got hit the hardest were had invested in some crop insurance this year. So fortunately for our family, we have. That's just something that we do. But it's not going to be the same as farming, a year without an event, so devastating as this.
Yeah, so retrospect, looking back, there really isn't much you could have done about this, but thinking if something like this were to happen again or to other growers in other regions in the coming years, what advice would you have?
I think, in a year like this, it's challenging. You could irrigate a lot more if you know it's coming, but then that only buys you, a half a degree or maybe even a degree. But it got so cold that that really wouldn't have helped us here. So I think the best thing you can do is invest. If you think it's going to be a risk, invest more on the crop insurance side. We talked a little bit about it today that. Farming is a gamble, yeah. Right? It's an open air casino, so it can be very challenging at times, and it's just something that we as farmers always have to deal with is we don't have control over the weather. So, all we could really do is put our best foot forward and try to have a positive outlook for. Hopefully, our vines aren't permanently damaged. That this is kind of a one and done kind of situation where.
Next year will be just
exactly, and fortunately, I've talked to a couple friends in cooler climates where they've had some pretty severe frost damages, in other years, and the good thing that they say is that it's kind of like giving your vines a year off.
Yeah.
So they usually come back, with the increased exposure to the sunlight, that the canes and cordon will be a lot more fruitful for the next year. So hopefully. That's going to be good for next year as we'll have a good, healthy crop year. So
yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up because, in such a drought as we're experiencing and lack of water availability, it may be tempting to be like, all right, we're not going to put as much into the vines this year, but it's important to keep in mind that could potentially affect next year's return as well. So we certainly wish all the growers the best of luck. It's going to be a tough year to get through, but we've been through tough times before. Right. Read more about these things in American Vineyard Magazine. I'm Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.